Satnam. I'm Lillian Savoy here at Awaken Change podcast, and I'm so excited to be with you today. If you're watching this video, I have a new forest background because we are going into the forest today for our women's circle. Sometimes it's really hard to get to women's circles in your area, or maybe you don't have anyone that hosts the women's circles. So today for the podcast, I'm going to be hosting a women's circle. Now, the good thing about being on a podcast is that anyone can join. So if you've never treated yourself to a women's circle, come on in. Come on in to this big oak tree behind me and feel yourself just walking into the forest. And we're going to work today on really coming into your own as a teacher. And at this age that I'm at, and my kids are getting older, I have one left in the house. We are being called to step into our own service. We are being called as mothers, as wives, as friends. Some of us are even grandparents right now. We are being called to move into the teacher phase instead of just the mothering phase. And the teacher phase is really hard to accept sometimes, depending on how old you are, because our brain wants to tell us that we're not old enough, right? Although elementary teachers and teachers all over the world, they start in their 20s. Yet to lead a women's group in a women's circle and to step into something that your ego is going to have a heyday with, telling you don't know enough about, that you don't know, what to say or how to guide someone. All of that is false, because when we are brought to the earth and incarnated in our body, our main purpose is to serve others. And so a lot of us, for me, for example, I've been serving my family. I've been serving my children. I've been serving my own needs. I've been serving my husband's needs. I've been serving the house needs. I've been serving my career needs. Okay, so I am in service. You are in service always, if you think about it, right? Someone needs something. So we want to take this a step further in our circle tonight. And I want to challenge you to maybe let go of the archetype of the mother, right? Because we're mothering everyone, and step into the role of the teacher. And the teacher challenges us to our core because, number one, we have to be walking the walk. We have to be doing the things for ourselves that we are teaching others. There is a immediate disconnect when you are not the one and you're telling your people and your friends and your family and your clients to do certain things that you're not doing. There is an immediate disconnect. They feel it, you feel it. So you have to be walking the walk. And that goes for, even giving advice to your family members, to your friends. If not, try to remain silent and listen. Practice your listening skills. If you don't have advice, it's okay not to have advice. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to just sit back and be the observer. Because when we are the observer of problems, of crises, of traumas, of families, of relationships, we learn so much. So let's take a sip. If you have a glass of water by you, I have my bone broth from Primal Tonics. That's just amazing. They put mushrooms in here and L-theanine and so many good things. Organic, seeing you kind of see it. So when we form a circle, let me give you some guidelines of the circle, okay? So when you come to the circle, it's not a time to dump your emotions on everybody else. It's just a time to connect with the energies that are in the circle. Let's take a sip to that. It's also a time to release what no longer serves you. And that's a big, big thing is to release what no longer serves us. How much guilt are you holding on to? How much stress and anxiety are you holding on to? In my studies, on my journey that I've been on right now, 80%, 80% of the reason why we go to the doctor is stress related. So, what if we went to more things like this, like women's circles, that would reduce our stress? What if we meditated more to reduce our stress? What if we drank tea with intention instead of just thirst to reduce our stress? We wouldn't have to go to the doctor. Not that I like going anyway, only for emergencies for me. So, when we come into the circle, the the intention is that you are going to learn something about yourself and you are going to be in a group with other people and you're not going to judge them or analyze them or try to even think of what to tell them. You're going to be in a space of just you. So if you're listening to this and you're driving or you're just at home, or maybe you need a lunch break and you needed a women's circle, the first thing is let's take a breath and just breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Notice how my out was very long because that is how we're getting rid of things. Okay. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. And then we want to just kind of release the tension in our head with intention. We're going to release tension in our head, release tension in our shoulders, release tension in our back, release tension in our hips, release tension in our legs, uncross them if they're crossed, release tension in your feet. And now we are going to call on our guides for this day, for this evening, for this circle. And we're going to use one of my guides called Owlie. And yes, she is an owl. She's a brown owl. And she is looking at me. And she's probably perched in my new tree behind me. So we're going to call on Owlie. We're going to call on the ascended masters. We're going to call on any forest beings. We're going to call on any ancestors that would like to come in for messages. We're going to call on your protectors and your guides that are also challengers, the guides that are going to get you out of your comfort zone. Now, that's not their job to get you out of your comfort zone. Your job is to get you out of your comfort zone, but they will assist. So if you're showing initiation and you're showing action, they are there. Okay. So we want to try to do some kind of action every day to really tell our guides that we just called in. We do want some kind of change. Now, remember, our intention is that we are going to step out of our comfort zone of being the mother and we're going to step into a version of the teacher. So let's just do one example to help wrap your brain around this. So let's say your child is a teenager and they're 18, 19. So technically they're kind of adult, but they're still a big baby, right? And they still need you, but they don't need you. They don't want you. It's very confusing. I'm in this right now. It's the most confusing relationship there is, I think. It's like one day they like you, one day they don't like you. One day they need you, one day they don't. One day they're failing, and one day they're succeeding. Okay, so how can I'm just going to use myself for an example. How can I shift from a mother to a teacher? Okay, so I have to look at myself and say, okay, what am I doing for her? Okay, right now, I'm really not doing anything for her because we had a little dust up when she went to school and she didn't want a single opinion of mine, not a single one. So therefore, I said, okay, well, if you don't want any opinion of mine, then I don't want to pay for your luxurious life in college. So we're going to have to find a happy medium. So you're going to call me once a week on a Sunday and tell me about yourself. And you're going to tell me about school and tutoring. And you don't have to tell me about friends or boyfriends. You don't have to tell me about any of that. But I just want you to tell me about you. That was the guideline I put on. Okay. So as a mother, instead of a teacher providing boundaries, as a mother, I've been like, you have to call me every day. I need to know you're alive. I need to track you on 360. Do you have groceries? Do you have this? Have you studied? So by our little Tiff, she has graduated me and I have graduated myself out of my comfort zone of always checking on her and making sure she's okay to I just need a once a week phone call. And I need a boundary that if for some reason she doesn't do well in school, then I don't have to pay for it. She can pay for it. And that can look different than what it looks now. So part of being the teacher is setting boundaries and not doing stuff for them. And that's so hard for women because it's natural for us to want to nurture and take care of people. But we forget to grow out of that mothering and we forget to grow into the teacher. And that's where the archetype of the crone comes in. We mature from the maiden to the mother to the crone. Okay, so I am going to pick 3 cards in our circle today. So let's go back to our circle. And I want you to think about an example in your own life that you have with a child, it could even be a spouse that you're mothering. Instead of having like a loving relationship, it could be, are you mothering your spouse? Are you making, his every tea and breakfast and dinner and making sure his clothes are done? And, who are you mothering? And where can you move from the mother to the teacher? Okay, so in our circle, and I want you to really envision the circle. Where are you sitting in the forest right now? Where are you? Who is next to you? Do you feel their energy? Do you not? Do you feel my owlie coming in? Do you feel your ascended masters? Do you feel your ancestors in the circle right now? Do you feel safe? It's one of the big intentions of a women's circle to feel safe. And the intention today is also to get us out of our comfort zone and into the teacher. Because why? Because you are here to serve. That is your purpose. All right. Now that we've set up our circle, it's time for a couple of cards. So something to bring in the cards. What I do, we've called in our guides, right? And I'm going to use the archetype guidebook today because I love it so. If this isn't in your repertoire, get it in there. Kim Kranz, she's just amazing. I hope I get to meet her and hang out with her one day. So these are, how cool are these? Okay, so what I do is I ask for guidance. So since we are in the circle together, I'm going to be asking for guidance for you as well and anyone else that's in the circle. So this is kind of like a group reading, but it's with archetypes because we are asking ourselves to graduate, but also embody and also entertain and get comfortable with the different versions of ourselves as we age or as we don't. Okay, so I'm going to ask the first question is, what is the first card that we need as a group that needs to come out and help us graduate from the mother to the teacher? And you probably say, well, mothers are teachers. But are they? Because teachers are tough. Teachers tell it like it is. And teachers don't always mother. And they definitely don't nurture. And sometimes they're just straight up mean. And I've definitely had some falling out with teachers. And so, let's get real, right? Teachers aren't always the nicest, but are they what we need at that time? Absolutely. So give it up for all the teachers out there because you're becoming one. in your own way. Okay, so of course, a card does not want to come out. So the second way I do it, I just shuffled. The second way I do it is I line it up. Okay, and this one just kind of fell out. So let's do that one. So Thanatos. Let me put on some glasses. Now, these are Roman numerals, which are my super fave. So I studied Roman numerals like when I was growing up. So 50, 60, 70, 73. Okay, so 73 on our 73. So think about, what does 73 mean to you? Does that give you permission to be a teacher if you're 73? What does it do for you? Was 73 when 73 for me was when a lot of my parents started having a lot of health issues. 73, I feel like maybe missed the window of the teacher, which I wanted to also touch on that. You know, when is a good time to become the teacher? None really, because number one, we have a limited time here on earth. Number two, how old do you have to be a teacher, a spiritual teacher in your mind? There is no age, there is no guideline, there is no rule. So it gets to be all about how you are comfortable stepping out and doing something different and serving the community, serving your friends, family, different, serving, just being different, ushering in a different part of yourself. Okay, so, oh, wait a minute. What happened? What happened? Hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay. Oh, this is all about death. Oh, so interesting. It is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation, but the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the ending of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos, as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. It leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld and return to the land of the living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Ooh, this is exciting. So it's very interesting because just yesterday, I got a call from a client who her father had had a stroke and he couldn't talk. So she was calling me to communicate with her father. Yeah. And those kind of readings for me are a little challenging because, first of all, we're humans, so we have emotions, and it's hard to just turn off some tears sometimes. And I think about, if someone else is dying and they're 80, then I think about my parents, and then it's a snowball, and then, it's just the sadness comes over, and death is so real. We don't know if we're going to live to be one more day old or all the way to 120 if we're healthy. So we called in his spirit, and we were talking to his spirit, and he was telling us exactly what to do. It was wild. And this one particular thing, he said, I want to have yellow flowers all around me. I want to be able to see him out the window, or I want him by me, because his wishes is that he didn't want any medical help. And so he was going to go home and do the palliative care there. Okay, well, his request, because they ask him if he has any requests. And his request was, I want to be surrounded by yellow flowers. And then he did something funny, like he was like, and I don't like heavy blankets, and I don't want a little flimsy sheet. And so he had all these kind of requests for his transition. So this morning, I wake up and I get a text from the client, and she says, thank you. It was so comforting to talk to my dad, and you really helped my mom. And by the way, I wanted to send you this picture. His niece, who was very close to him at the time we were talking, was taking pictures with her and her husband in a sunflower field. Oh, I get goosebumps even just thinking about that. And she sent me the picture of the sunflower picture with her in the middle being surrounded by all these gorgeous flowers. And it was just such a full circle moment of life and healing and death. And this is another reason why I love the circle, because we do come full circle. Everybody keeps saying we come in with nothing, we leave with nothing. But okay, let's not focus on that. What about all these full circle healing moments for us as humans, for us as spirits, for us as reincarnated beings and that have requests, even when we can't speak, even when we're, days away from leaving our body, we have requests, we have needs, we need love, we need connection to nature. We need all of these things. And are we doing that here in this life right now? Are you doing that in this life right now? Are you connecting with those that you love? Are you asking yourself if you need to be surrounded by pretty yellow sunflowers? Are you asking yourself if you like your sheets, your blanket? Do you sleep with socks on, no socks on, PJs on, no PJs on? Do you like the water you're drinking, the food you're eating? How many times do we actually ask ourselves and ask our spirit, what is it that you want? What is it that you need? Because last night I didn't feel like doing the podcast. I was tired, I needed to study, and I just wasn't feeling it. So this morning I really called in my guides and I said, I just want to have a circle of women. I want to teach. I want to be around a circle of women with great energy. I'm in my new friend era that I keep meeting the coolest freaking people. And, what do I need to give today to be of service? And my guides came in and said, Women's Circle. And, in my reminder in my phone at 9 o'clock, it goes off every morning. It says circle, circle reading. And that was me trying to learn about circle, but a different circle. But it was just like so interesting that all the little points every day I have a reminder talking about a circle. And every day I'm thinking, it would be nice to lead a circle, to have a circle. Okay, it's right in front of your face what you need to be doing, how you need to be serving. It's right in front of our faces. Are you listening? All right, so we're going to move on from death. Okay. Okay, so this says we're getting an initiation to the underworld. So what I would do in my circle with you today is get a match, box of matches. Okay. Get a good old kitchen match. Okay. And we're going to light this. Okay. And this is our initiation into the underworld. Now, this sounds kind of scary to some people, but really, if we don't know the shadows, we don't see the light. So this is our initiation. We're just going to let it burn for just a minute. So just breathe in, out. While we let this initiation just take us to a place that is different than where we've been before. How can you surrender to a place that is different than you've been before? Does the underworld scare you? Does death scare you? If it does, then you know where to work. You know what to read about, learn about. Uh-oh, I better blow this out. It's about to get my fingernails. Okay. All right, now we're going to move on to one more card because I'm really feeling like we need a card after the death card. Let's just take a breath in and out and really get centered. Still in our circle. Feeling our circle. Dancing in our circle. Moving your body in your circle. Look, and we didn't even have to plan it, put it on the calendar, organize it. Uh-oh, this one's jumping out. Okay, guess what it is? The flame. Can you see that? Okay, so we just lit a flame, a literal flame. We just got initiated into the underworld. And then we pulled the archetype, the flame. And it looks just like our flame, except a red candle. We didn't have that. So the Roman numeral is 51. It's an L and a 1. So, and something about Roman numerals too, I think it just brings me back to like ancient times. And I just love like those ancient times. Okay. So in Sanskrit, the word for fire is Agni, Agni. The ancient yogis saw this flame at the center of the abdomen and believed it to be responsible for our vitality. When it is lit, we are connected to our purpose and sense that life is a sacred gift. It is said that those who cannot see the sacred around them have let their inner flame go out. Think of this card as a call to reignite that fire, to cup your hands gently around those things you've forgotten, and protect the flame, no matter how harshly the winds around you blow. It could be an inner archetype that begs you to light its wick. It is likely that the poet, the mystic, or the shaman would call to you with the language of the flame. Okay, now here's what's really funny. In my own reading this morning, I pulled the poet for me. So I am your poet today, and I am calling you with the language of the flame. Now, I couldn't have, if I made this up, I couldn't have even tried to tell you the synchronicities. But I am the poet on the podcast today in our women's circle, asking you to light your flame. What are you holding back from? What are you so comfortable in that you don't want to get out of your comfort zone and into who you are meant to be? What is your purpose? We are not going to know your purpose until we light the flame. And you have to give yourself permission to light the flame. Okay, so let's light the flame again. Because see, the first one was initiation. The second one is the flame. Let's take a sip of tea or water, whatever you're having. Taking like little pauses in between really does a body good. Isn't that the old saying? What does a body good? Is that Wheaties? I don't even remember. There was something in the 80s, right? Okay, so let's light your flame. What do you think you're tampering down for somebody else's needs? What do you think you're shoving into a closet or putting under a bed saying, I'll do this later, I'll do this later? Well, guess what? If you have a stroke, there may not be any later, right? So let's do it now. Let's light the flame for you now. Doesn't mean you have to go out there and, invest in businesses and try to be a multimillionaire. That is not the point. The point is to light that flame that lives in the belly that brings your connection to your purpose so that your purpose can be brought out into the world. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The match split in two, able to hold it back. All right, now what we're going to do is if you're at home, you want to look at the flame. Okay, we're going to look at the flame. Whoa, this one's bigger. This is definitely not an initiation. Look at the flame. What is it showing you? Does it have multicolors? Is it big? Whoa, this one's big. It's a perfect triangle. It's a perfect teepee. So we just lit your flame Now, what you're going to ask me now, okay, now what do I do? Okay, so the good news is that's not my job to tell you what you get to do. Um, unless you want a reading and talk to your spirit guides. But since we've called in your spirit guides, your ascended masters, your ancestors, my owlie. Here, I'll show you a picture of my owlie. Look how cute my owlie is. Isn't he cute? Or she, or what it, or whatever, or it. Okay. So your job is to connect with nature, with your guides, with your spirit, and truly ask those questions. Spirit, what is it that you want me to do? Spirit, guide me in the direction of my dreams. Spirit, guide me in the direction of my purpose. Spirit, take over me because I have no idea what I'm doing and therefore I need help. Okay, so you can be as minimal or as desperate as you would like with your guides. There are no rules, okay? They're just not going to do it for you. That's pretty much the bottom line. They're going to help you, they're going to funnel things in, they're going to hug you and love you and support you, but they're not going to do it for you. So, should we do a third one? Let's ask our spirit, what does this women's circle need today? Let's take a sip and ask our spirit, and I want to know what you get. Do we need a third card for guidance today? I heard no. What did you hear? So instead of picking a third card, because we're going to end with the flame, um, we're going to just clear our chakras and end on that note and really give thanks and stuff to our circle. So let's do a first clearing of the chakra above our head. Okay, we're going to go about a foot above our head. And I want you just to imagine the white and violet light coming in to clear. Okay, and clearing above our head in the biofield of our energy. Then we're going to go into the center of our third eye in our crown area. And we're going to clear that with our white and violet light. Then we're going to go into our throat, send our white and violet light into our throat, clearing that. We're going to go into our heart with our white and violet light, clearing that. We always need a kind of a breath in the heart chakra and exhale. Then we're going to go into the belly button, the solar plexus, white, violet light. And can you see your flame that we lit? Try to really see it with your mind's eye. Can you see the flame? Yes. Okay. I heard that you can. So that's great. Okay. Going into the sacral chakra, the womb, sending white and violet light to clear. Going into the root chakra for women, that's it, like the tip of our cervix, going down into our hips, white and violet light, clear. And then going into our legs, sending that beautiful white and violet light down our legs, down our calves, down our ankles, down our feet, and into the earth as we thank the underworld for allowing us to initiate into their energy. So many good things come from actually noticing your shadows and noticing what's under the earth. You might get dreams about this. You might get vibes. You might get feelings. You might get a little inkling to update your house or clean your doors or wash your windows or get new rugs, something to kind of spruce up the home. The underworld has a lot to say. Also, energetically, are you living more in the underworld than you are the outer world? A lot of people do hide and escape, live in the underworld because they are afraid of the light and the bright and the challenges that the outer world gives us. It's almost easier to hide in the underworld than it is to serve in the outer world. So we want to challenge ourselves to get in, use the underworld as a tool, as an archetype to learn about, to be one day, to meditate with, but don't stay there. Initiate yourself into that energy, but learn about it and grow into the person you are meant to be. And then the flame, we're going to give thanks to the flame and the archetype of the flame that really lighted that fire in your belly. the one that is going to teach you that you can be bigger than you think you are. You're not just put on here just to mother everybody else. You are meant to grow and be challenged, serve, love, have infinite possibilities and exponential health, and all of those good things coming to you. You are meant for that. So, how are you going to go and live that? So, grab yourself this archetype book, the deck, learn about it, pull your own cards. And now let's thank the women in the circle that have joined with you today. Remember when we first sat down, Asha, look to your left, look to your right. What energy do you feel? What energy do you see? It's not a dumping ground of emotions. It's an embodiment of growth and purpose and love and strength. So let's be grateful and thank everybody for holding this circle together. Thank the people you haven't met yet, that you haven't seen yet. Thank you for the people that are going to come into your life and bring so much luck and love and education. And thank yourself finally for showing up, even by listening to this and being part of the circle. You are changing the world one human at a time. So let's connect with our spirit. Let's thank our spirit, our guides, our masters, our ancestors, our ally, our nature, anything that brings us life. Let's thank the trees, the birds, the bees. Let's thank all of our plants and anything that really cleans our air for us and allows us to be here in a whole form. How grateful are we for that? So let's close the circle with just an intention to send out blessings to anyone who needs them, and also bless yourself. And Sat Nam. Until next time.